You don't do that unless you're building a thugocracy. You come in with your stormtroopers and you say, shut it down. And you have to. They don't care if they bully vets, shut down parks that don't need to be shut down. They are showing you they're in control and they don't care. They didn't care if they left people in Benghazi. They didn't care that the IRS was targeting individuals based on their political beliefs. This week, they became in charge of your health care. They don't care that the IRS is now the one you have to answer to. They didn't care if the NSA monitors every aspect of your life and stores statistical history on you. Why? Because they're building a thugocracy. And you've just passed an important milestone and you need to know it. The thugs are in control and they want you to know. That's why they're bullying the 90-year-olds. It goes way beyond politics. Like I said at the beginning, this is a war. It's a war between authoritarian or libertarian. And the authoritarians believe that the ends justify the means. A couple of weeks ago, I watched the ending of Air Force One. I was flipping around and I saw the ending of Air Force One. And I want to show you this scene that you might have forgotten.
No, I have no choice. You have the choice. Leave her alone. This is between you and me. You lose a child, it hollows you out. We're soldiers. Take my life. If you know honor, I'll count to 5.
No!
It's coming, Maria. 1.
Have you no honor?
2.
This is the key. This is the key. This is what they're doing. They will use our grandparents, our children, everything. And we're playing the old game. This is one of the first movies really that came out with terrorists. And no, we used to have honor. We're soldiers, you and me. No, we're not. They're revolutionaries. You don't shove heroes around. If you would do that to our greatest American generation, 90-year-old heroes, some of America's biggest heroes, imagine, are they going to treat the 90-year-olds differently when they get a hold of their health care and there's a shortage? Did you see the 1-800 number for Obamacare? I'm not kidding you. It spells 1-800-FU. Excuse me? Now, I don't think the president gave, the order to use a childish profanity in the phone number, but it is beyond comprehension that this is a mistake. This is somebody in the administration that thought, oh, this is just great, and we'll say F you to the free market proponents. That is who these people are. Just in the last 24 hours, they have likened the GOP to kidnappers, suicide bombers, arsonists, radical extremists, jihadists.
What we're not for is negotiating with people who have a bomb strapped to their chest.
Mr. Speaker, Republican extremists have put the federal government on the brink of a shutdown in less than 3 days.
America will know exactly who to blame. Republicans, fanatics in the House and the Senate.
For many of them, I call them legislative arsonists. They're there to burn down what we should be building up in terms of investments in education and scientific research and all that it is that make our country great and competitive.
American people have worked too hard to recover from a bunch of crises, several of them now over the last couple of years inflicted by some of the same folks in Congress that we're talking about now, to see extremists in Congress cause another crisis.
Extremists. He will not call Islamists or jihadists or extremists, but he will the Republican Party. Understand? Revolutionaries always tell you who they are through their actions. Harry Reid tweeted that the American people will not be extorted by American Tea Party anarchists. Joe Biden called them terrorists. Tom Harkin described the coming civil war.
I think that you're going to see by January of 2015, if not October of 2014, an increase in interest rates which will start the domino. And when Bernanke announced that there would be a tapering, the markets
Hang on, I think we have the wrong
Mr. President, we are at one of the most dangerous points in our history right now. Every bit as dangerous as the breakup of the Union before the Civil War.
Okay. We're dealing with a whole new breed of people, and actually I'm glad you put the SOT from last night talking about hyperinflation, because they are setting up, these are the bad guys, get them, because when things start to fall apart, they're going to need somebody to say, get them. Progressives feel that capitalism is in its final death throes, and they are trying to deliver the fatal blow and make sure they have somebody to blame. They're trying to usher in a new collectivism, and it's always pitched with a happy face and a promise that this time, authoritarian rule will be different, but it's never different. It leaves a trail and a wake of bodies in every single instance. The consequence of collectivism has been cemented in history over and over and over again. In collectivist China, 70 million perished under Chairman Mao. The Soviet Union killed 50 million people. Millions starved to death under Stalin. The communist Khmer Rouge slaughtered 50 million people. That's 25% of Cambodia's entire population, because the collective was more important. The science is settled. And if you disagree, you are literally a Holocaust denier. Authoritarian collectivist governments always end with millions of people dead. Period. End of story. And what kills me is everyone knows 6 million people died under Hitler. Everyone. But make sure your children and your children's children and all the neighbors know that the Marxist Holocaust is not ever even taught to students. And it's bigger than the fascist Holocaust. And that's why authoritarianism is wrong. Libertarianism is right. Those who perished under brutal regimes died under horrific circumstances. They're not even honored or remembered. Mao gave people numbers instead of names. Numbers. That's never even used as a warning today. In the Ukraine, Stalin starved 7 million people. Why? Because he would not negotiate with the people in the Ukraine. Does that sound familiar? To prove a point, Marxist killers don't ever come in the front door that way. They come in a myriad of ways, through revolution, through a velvet revolution, as a messiah, as a leader for change. But when the warning signs start to come, a few always stand up, but most never believe, because you have to ignore the mass graves and say it won't happen. This time it will be better. And they're not like that. They package it as something entirely different, and nobody wants to believe it. But let me tell you something. When they start pushing the greatest generation, when they start boxing them in and using them, that's a real problem, gang. That's a real problem. They have no reason to do that except to prove a point. And while they're doing that, they're calling us extreme. It always ends the same, and it always starts the same way too. Loss of individual liberty, economic collapse, and the promise of equality. Not all men are created equal, not equal chance, but equality, equal outcomes. We have 2 out of those 3. Economic collapse is the only one that hasn't happened yet. But listen again here to what David Buckner said on the show last night.
I think that you're going to see by January of 2015, if not October of 2014, an increase in interest rates which will start the domino. And when Bernanke announced that there would be a tapering, the markets just dropped, because they knew that even if the interest rates changed one infinitesimal amount, it was the beginning of the domino.
How fast did the dominoes go down?
3 months. You listen to many of the economists, within 3 months, you're going to see us, and it's going to be perception more than real price. You're going to see hoarding, you're going to see fear. It's not the actuality. So if they can put a glaze over everybody and they're all in the poppy field, it may slow it down. That's the problem, is we're dealing with illusion. It's an illusion of what is real. We don't have the money. So the interest rates go up, you're going to see a domino.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Everything is an illusion.